Hello, everyone. My name is Aisha Harley, and it is with great pleasure to welcome you to our Essential Wellness Empowered Health series. Today, we have a very special guest, Jeffrey Tufenkian, and a presentation I believe everyone should see and share with their friends and their family. It's really important information that he is sharing today. So I'm really glad that you've joined us. We are here on the Zoom webinar, and we are also streaming live on our Essential Wellness Facebook page. You are welcome to ask questions during the presentation, and we will answer them at the end, and you can answer them here on the chat in Zoom, and or again, if you're streaming or if you're viewing us on Facebook, you can write them there. So please know that, but Jeffrey won't answer any questions during the presentation, so we'll answer all those after. I just want to take a moment to introduce him, give him a proper introduction, and then I'm going to hand the presentation over to Jeffrey. So Jeffrey is a longtime advocate for health and the environment and has been doing professional advocacy on environmental consumer protection and public health and safety since the mid-'80s, before even anyone knew about this information, right? He's run grassroots campaigns to support legislation and curb toxins, reduce air pollution and water pollution, and worked as a consumer protection advocate, informing the public, garnering media coverage, and advocating for policies to increase the safety of toys, vehicles, and household products. He's been passionate about a healthy lifestyle and holistic health for many years. He's also co-produced a series of fun, educational food and music festivals to help advance environment, health, and animal issues and organizations. As a concerned consumer and father of a beautiful 6-year-old daughter, he's strived to use non-toxic cleaning, personal care, apparel, bedding, pest control, and other products and services in his home. And I want to say, before we begin, deep gratitude to you, Jeffrey, for your advocacy, for informing all of us of this information, and for the work that you've done in your life. It's people like you that bring awareness and help make a difference in the world. I'm going to start crying. So we're really, really lucky to have you here. Again, really valuable information, and I'm going to pass it on over to you.
Thank you very much, Aisha. Really, really appreciate it. Really, really honored to be here with you and everyone. Just it's a great opportunity, I think, to share this information that I think a lot of people are learning more about, but still, I think, relatively unknown. And I know even if you're pretty well advanced with this, I know there are people in your life that can be, better about eliminating and reducing toxins. So thank you all for being here, and thank you for having me, Aisha. As Aisha indicated, I've been blessed with lots of different kinds of career jobs that have mostly focused on improving the environment, health, other kinds of things. And recently, my interest in this has been more avocation than vocation, but continue to be very passionate about reducing toxins and helping people be more informed and healthy in their lifestyle. So what are we talking about? And first of all, I want to apologize that we are getting into some heavy stuff here. There's a lot of toxic chemicals that are out there in our consumer products, and I think this is disturbing on a couple levels. One, that this is happening, and it's so pervasive. And two, that it's also disheartening that we've really been deceived, largely deceived by the industry that is pushing these things out to us as consumers and helping us believe that we need these things to have a better life and to have to be clean and safe and healthy, which is really far from the truth. So there's lots of different toxins that are out there in commercial as well as consumer products, but I'm going to focus today, we're going to talk about two major areas. And there are a couple of big ones. One are the cleaning, home cleaning care kinds of products, things you might find under your kitchen cupboard, under your sink. And the other would be personal care products, shampoos, soaps, et cetera, et cetera. So we'll talk a little bit about each of those and some examples of some of the concerns in each of those areas. And then we'll talk a little bit about kind of how do we get here with so many of these toxic products in our toxic chemicals in our everyday products. And then we can move into more of the positive, empowering messages, looking at what we can do, looking at how we can use essential oils, what are essential oils, how we can use them to give us positive side effects instead of the negative ones that the chemicals are bringing. And as Aisha said, please send us your questions. I know I always get lots of great questions on this, and so I look forward to those. Type those in, send this to us, and we'll get those at the end. Thank you. So, as we're going through life, a lot of people are focusing more and more on healthy living, and one of the keys is eliminating toxins from our body. Problem is, many of these chemicals that are found in these everyday consumer products are really threatening ourselves and our loved ones, and not just in a little way, but with things like cancer, birth defects, other serious diseases. So I find many times that people who are eating healthy food, buying organics, trying to exercise and dealing with stress well, often overlook, what's in their shampoo and their deodorant and the cleaning products they're using to clean their bathroom, and so it's an area that can really vex our health. And I'd like to invite us to start thinking differently. We're conditioned through, the relentless advertising to focus on, you have, soap, get something that's going to remove that easily, and ignore everything else that's involved in that product, what harm it could be potentially bringing, and just focus on how to get it off the quickest, easiest way, and that's it. We find a similar approach in a lot of the medicine, but that's a whole nother topic. So I would like to invite us to start thinking a little bit more holistically about the products that we bring into our home and use every day. And rather than having the negative side effects that often come with these chemical ingredients, to choose positive ones that we'll talk about later. So jump right into the heavy stuff here. I mean, we live in a country with, a strong government and regulatory process and the rule of law. And we would think that these products have been tested, they're regulated, somebody's watching out to make sure that we're not being faced with, things that might hurt us or our children. And unfortunately, that is far from the case. So here's a quick rundown. Over 60,000 industrial chemicals used in household items. These are things that are sold to us, we're buying and using every day. Out of that 60,000, only 200 tested by the Food and Drug Administration, and only 5 regulated by the FDA. And you can see that it's been a long time since we've had chemical safety laws updated. And that really isn't due to the very powerful, entrenched chemical industry that is lobbying to keep out other protections. So I'm going to dive in, and this will show some examples of some products. Unfortunately, just because I don't have common product listed here or included here, there's just a few, does not unfortunately mean that what you have is without toxins. I'll refer a few times to EWG, Environmental Working Group, really excellent nonprofit group, and they're working on the lobbying level to get better policies enforcement. They're also providing some really great consumer practical information that we can use when we're out shopping for our families. So I'll refer to a few things they've done. And if you look at their website, and I'll give you links at the end, just for example, a laundry detergent, they have 5 pages of different commercial laundry detergents that get an F ranking. That's not to say the D and C and so forth, but pages and pages just of the Fs, just of the laundry detergent. So things like window cleaners, oven cleaners, drain cleaners, dish soap, dishwasher soap, commercial air fresheners, computer cleaners, eye cleaners, laundry detergent, dryer sheets, on and on and on. These kinds of cleaning products contain a lot of toxic chemicals. One example, this one has been banned in Europe with DEGME. And by the way, I'm not a toxicologist or a chemist, and I will likely butcher some of these names, but methoxydicglycol, up to 15 times the concentration allowed in cleaners sold in the EU was in this product. The UN Economic Commission of Europe says DEGME is suspected of damaging the unborn child. Not something we want to have around the house. Another banned abroad, scrubbing bubbles, another ubiquitous brand, DEGBE up to 10%. Butoxydicglycol solvent banned in the EU in concentrations above 3%. And here we have over 3 times that in this product that is being sold and used every day in this country. It's a lung irritant, can irritate and inflame the lungs. Another example of something banned in other countries, Easy Off oven cleaner. Again, something it's been around for decades, advertised on TV and widely used. Contains 5 to 10% DEGBE, again, lung irritant, and much higher concentrations than is allowed in Europe. Tarnex, again, another very, very well-known product, high hazard ingredients. This product contains up to 7% thiourea, chemical classified as a carcinogen by the state of California. The information says prolonged or repeated exposure may cause reproductive and fetal effects. Now, is this something we really want to expose ourselves and our families to? I don't think so. Glade air freshener. And for those of you who, have been relatively aware, you probably assume that air fresheners are not that great, but and these refer to intentional abuse of these, concentrating, kid that's trying to get high or something. But concentrating and inhaling contents can be harmful or fatal, a warning on the label for Glade and for Airwick. And the Spot Shot carpet seam remover also warns inhalation abuse may be harmful or fatal. So if something is harmful or fatal in concentrated quantities, do you really want to use it on a regular basis, even in normal quantities? I don't think so. Other products, and again, these impact not only ourselves and our families, but they get into the environment, and they cause wider problems out in the environment for wildlife. So a couple examples: sodium borate, developmental endocrine reproductive effects, also skin irritation, allergies, damage, respiratory effects. Again, these are not consequences, side effects that we want to bring into our families. Ethanolamine, respiratory effects, general systemic organ effects, also chronic aquatic toxicity, nervous system effects, skin irritation, allergies. So again, are these side effects really worth getting your laundry clean when there are other ways to do it without the toxins. Parabens and aluminum, you probably all heard about these ingredients, methyl paraben, other parabens, very, very, very common in personal care products. Both parabens and aluminum are estrogenic. So what's wrong with that? They interact with our body's hormones in ways similar to estrogen. And according to the National Cancer Institute, excess estrogen plays a role in promoting growth of cancer cells. Is this something we really want to bring to our families? Triclosan. So this comes to pesticides, and we have a lot of pesticides in consumer products. We'll get into some of the origins of those in a minute. But we've been conditioned again through some fear mongering, I believe, and marketing, that we need to have, we need to be concerned about bacteria. We need to have, antibacterial this, antibacterial that. And so they put this pesticide, triclosan, in a lot of consumer products and others in consumer products to be that antibacterial agent. Problem is, yeah, it may kill some bacteria, but there are a lot of other side effects we really don't want. Often toxic to aquatic algae, fish, wildlife, and then it also promotes antibiotic-resistant bacteria, not something we want to advance. Comet. No one's ever heard of this brand before, right? Something that's just ubiquitous. And this was interesting. Again, coming to EWG, Environmental Working Group, they did a test on a number of popular brands, and this was one of them, the Comet disinfectant powder. When used as directed, not mixing with a bunch of other things or abusing it, when used as directed, Comet produced 146 different air contaminants, including formaldehyde, benzene, chloroform, and others, including 4 chemicals that California says cause cancer or reproductive harm. Is this really what we want in our life? More of this? I don't think so. Again, from being used as directed, Simple Green, which with a name like that, you would think it would be better. Unfortunately, it's not. And Febreze Air Effects each produced about 90 air contaminants when used as directed. Now, certified green products, which Simple Green is not, certified green products tend to be better. They're not perfect, but they tend to be better than conventional counterparts. And we'll come to a little bit more on that. But yeah, again, Simple Green is not a certified green product, and so look for that real certified green label. The EWG found that 53% of cleaning products contain chemicals known to harm the lungs. Over half. 22% contain chemicals reported to cause asthma in otherwise healthy people. An evaluation of 21 common school cleaning products determined 29%, a little under a third, emitted at least one of 3 common asthmagens into the air when used as directed. Again, this is not about abusing or mixing in some crazy way. When used as directed, these are producing toxic gases. These asthmagens included formaldehyde, methyl macrolate, styrene, which are commonly found in air fresheners, perfumes, cleaners. A little bit more on school cleaning products. And if you have students in school, this might be an area where you can try to bring some change. Of the school cleaning products they tested, they found 6 that lead to asthma. Again, formaldehyde, styrene, methyl macrolate, ethanolamine, etc. Childhood asthma prevalence has more than doubled since 1980. So is this something we should be concerned about? I think so. Nearly 10% of children have asthma right now. They found, in school cleaning products, 11 chemicals tied to increased cancer risk: formaldehyde, styrene, chloroform, trichloroethylene, benzene, etc. Should we be concerned about childhood cancer? I think so. It's gone up 28% from 1974 to 1998, especially significant increases in leukemia, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, and several brain and nervous system cancers. So the CDC, Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, and the US EPA, Environmental Protection Agency, also show that asthma is a serious problem. Nearly 1 in 11 children in the US have asthma. Asthma is a leading cause of school absenteeism. 10.5 million school days are missed every year due to asthma. So there's something we can do about this. Though there are many types of industrial chemicals that cause asthma, these are some of the top concerns. Quaternary ammonium, ethanolamines, and bleach and ammonia. And bleach and ammonia, I mean, they're essentially ubiquitous, essentially synonymous with cleaning. And so these are things that are out there causing problems, but we don't need them. With cleaning substances ranking the second most common cause of childhood poisonings, the hazards are significant. Over 300 children per day, according to the CDC, treated in the emergency room due to poisoning. Now, not all these are due to cleaning chemicals, but that's a big chunk. So it's an area of toxic exposure that really can prevent. So unless you're drinking drain cleaner out of the bottle, or bleach or some crazy thing, a few uses, few exposures are not going to kill you. The thing we have to be concerned about is this repeated over and over exposure, day in, day out, and not only to individual products and their chemicals in those, but the combination, the synergistic effect of multiple different kinds of toxic exposures through different products and different chemicals in the same individual product. And over time, these toxic chemicals really can cause serious injuries and even death. So, coming to the next area of offenders, personal care products. So things like soap, deodorant, toothpaste, shaving cream, aftershave, perfume, shampoo, conditioner are another area of concern. So, would you eat your deodorant? Seems crazy, but it would actually cause less harm to eat it than to put it on your armpits. Pardon me. And we know this because it takes about 30 seconds for things from our skin to enter our bloodstream. And so in many of these products even have chemicals that are added to help with absorption, and so they bring the toxins right into your bloodstream immediately. So you don't have, without eating, when we're eating things, it's going through the stomach, it's going through the liver, acts as a great filter. But with our skin, we don't have that. So some common offenders in the personal care realm include parabens, again, methyl and other parabens, aluminum, typically in antiperspirants. They can promote gene instability in breast tissue. And I thought this was interesting that, breast tumors would be randomly placed, but in fact, over half of breast cancers start in the upper outer area, which, would indicate that there's probably some relationship to what's going on underneath the armpits. So it tends to align with products that contain, the aluminum metal. And then, of course, if people are shaving before applying it, that even increases the problem. Triclosan, again, put in there to kill bacteria on the skin. And some research links triclosan to an unusual hormone activity, and others suggest could disrupt thyroid function and day-to-day operation of our genes. Not things we want to be happening in our lives of ourselves or our family members. Phthalates, these help the cosmetics stick to our skin. They're testosterone hormone disruptor and could impact fetal development in pregnant women. DIDP have been linked, and others have been linked to birth defects. Phthalates have been linked with obesity, reduced female fertility, preterm birth and low birth weight, worsening of allergy and asthma symptoms, and altered toddler behavior. So these are obviously some heavy things, and it's we don't want to get totally overwhelmed on them, but we also want to recognize the real dangers that are being posed. So fragrance or perfume, something that's in so many different kinds of products. And unfortunately, what's in that one word on the ingredients, if you're good at looking at ingredients, you'll see, fragrance. Okay, that seems innocuous. But in fact, it can be a chemical cocktail of many different toxic chemicals. And unfortunately, right now, exactly what those chemicals are is protected under trade law. So those, they say, it's a trade secret what our fragrance is. So again, going back to aren't we better protected than this? There is some testing that happens on the government level, and industries test some of their products themselves. But when that testing does happen, it typically is very much in isolation. They're looking at one ingredient within one product. They're not looking how it interacts with other ingredients in the same product, let alone with other products and all their cocktail of ingredients. Also, it does not look at multiple exposures, triclosan, phthalates, BPA, from multiple products. These things are in so many different products, and then we're exposed over and over again through the shampoo here and the dish soap there and other kinds of things. So the real impacts on our bodies, on our organisms, are really not adequately tested at all. So how do we get here? How do we end up with, all these toxic products on our store shelves being marketed to us every day? And you have to really hunt to find alternatives to many of these. Unfortunately, it's getting easier and easier and easier, which is great. So a lot of this came out of World War II, and the whole pesticides industry grew out of both sides, German and Allied, chemical warfare research. They were looking for the chemicals that are the most toxic, the ones that can, kill and maim the most people. And that's what they were going for. And the war was over. And then, hey, what are we going to do with all these chemicals? And literally some of the same, chemical weapons facilities were transformed into consumer manufacturing. And many of those products or variations of those ended up in our consumer products, as well as certainly sprayed on our fruits and vegetables through agribusiness. The whole, agribusiness is a huge user of chemicals, of course, and much of that started with World War II chemical warfare research. These products that we're buying off the shelf are often toxic chemical cocktails. And even when used as directed, they literally can kill us. So just because it's used on our foods or put in our foods, sold to us as, a cleaning product or personal care product, does not mean it's safe for us to use, even as directed. How did we get here? Why isn't there better protection? And it really comes down to, our elected officials get a lot of pressure every day, and incentives through campaign contributions from the chemical industry. There's a huge, powerful lobby, and so often they're very reluctant to pass measures that will further protect us, because the chemical industry feels threatened by it. So again, more than 60,000 untested chemicals pervading our consumer products. We wonder why people are getting sick and dying before their time. So going to labels, we need to get better at reading labels. And some of the things you might see are here. Active ingredients. Typically, these are antimicrobial pesticides like triclosan and others added to kill bacteria, viruses, molds. Avoid them. You don't need them. They're toxic chemicals. Skip them. If that's what it says on the label, then move on. Antibacterial, again, contains pesticides that kill bacteria, molds, viruses. Avoid these. Fragrances, perfumes, scents. If it says fragrance, again, skip it. But if it better free and clear, no fragrance, or maybe with essential oils. Again, there's some concerns about store-bought essential oils, the consistency, purity, so forth. But avoid the chemical ones that are labeled fragrance or scent. Non-toxic, it sounds good, but it really doesn't mean anything. It's like natural that's used so often that it sounds good. It's a great marketing term, but really does not mean anything. There's no legal definition, so ignore it. No standard definition. I mean, unlike some of the certifications, there are several now, or things like organic. There is a legal definition for what organic means, and so that there is basis behind that. Okay, let's move into a little bit more of the positive message here. There's a lot of heavy stuff, and again, I apologize. And it's something we need to recognize, and hopefully this will be motivation to help you and your loved ones move away from some of the toxic consumer products that are out there, and start using more healthy, friendly products instead. And the good news is it's getting easier and easier and easier to do that. So there are simple approaches that help us, free ourselves from these toxic traps. We don't need that stuff at all. So we'll talk about making up some of our own simple recipes using doTERRA essential oils, some just kind of old-fashioned things that we can do, and then shopping for some of the new products that are healthier. I think this warrants a two-pronged approach, so, including personal actions. So that would include avoiding toxic products, reading the ingredients, checking what you have, replacing as you can. Don't feel bad if you have a bunch of these things under your kitchen cabinet or in your bathroom shelf. You can start to replace them, over time, and start with the most toxic ones are the easiest ones to replace, but start avoiding buying new ones anyway. So store-bought, avoid the ones with scents, just using essential oils or free and clear terms of the store-bought ones. Avoid the big commercial brands. Think about it, basically if it's advertised on TV over and over again, we're probably best without it. So there are a lot of, like I said, more and more great, effective, available alternatives. Go to your local natural food store. Often the people and the staff in those departments are super knowledgeable. If you tell them what they're looking for, they can help steer you to some good options. And I like to start with a natural food store, like a local one, like we have New Seasons here, or Whole Foods, or one of the others, Market of Choice we have here as well, or a co-op. Those are a great place to start, because at least you're clearing the field of a lot of the toxic players. Doesn't mean everything in there is perfect, but you're starting at a little bit higher bar. But then talking to the staff there in the personal care section and vitamins section, and asking them to help steer you towards, we're looking for a sunscreen that is going to be the healthiest you have and free of toxic chemicals, or a laundry detergent or something else, soap or shampoo, and then making your own. And a lot of these things I'll show you, and I'll share some recipes towards the end, but many of these you can put together in maybe 2 minutes, and they'll cost you maybe 30-40 cents for a bottle that may last several months, rather than 4 or 5 or 6 or whatever dollars for a store-bought one. And are very effective, clean, healthy, and have some great positive side effects, which we'll get into in a minute. So what are essential oils? We've been talking around this, but let's dive into it. They're aromatic compounds naturally extracted from plants. They're powerful, very safe benefits without the side effects of chemicals. 50 to 70 times more powerful than herbs. They have a huge range of uses, from cosmetics, foods, natural health solutions, and oftentimes it's the essential oil and the benefits, the properties within it, that are the model or inspiration for the chemically produced copies. Not even a copy, it's just a chemical product. They're 100% natural. It's a natural way to help take care of our family's health. Potent. And when you're shopping for essential oils, look for the pure, well-tested ones that are sourced from their native indigenous growing region. They've been tested for lack of toxins and other contaminants, also for their potency, to make sure that's consistent, because if you're using it for particular health effects, you want to make sure it has that potency. Make sure they're pure, and doTERRA has the CPTG guarantee. So let's jump into it here. There are a few things. First of all, just kind of back up on the big picture with cleaning and personal care. A lot of it comes back to some of the old standbys. I mean, baking soda and distilled vinegar. I mean, you can clean most of your house with just these. If you put a few drops of essential oil in there, and you've got a great cleaning product for a lot of different things. So yeah, maybe it takes a little bit more elbow grease, but I'd rather put a minute of elbow grease in than to threaten myself and my family with toxins. In terms of the homemade cleaners, so here's an example of a glass cleaner. I'll bring the recipe in a moment. But vinegar, water, and lemon essential oil. Just mix it up in a spray bottle, and it's a great glass cleaner. It doesn't streak, it cleans well. Countertop cleaner, I'll get a little bit more into this. But what are some of the essential oil ingredients that we're putting in here? They have wonderful benefits in and of themselves. So lemon, for example, It's antiseptic, antifungal, and antiviral. You can diffuse in a room, neutralize odors, and elevate the mood. So here we have something that instead of poisoning ourselves with chemicals that are deteriorating our health and probably our mood too, we have something through the citrus oils. Citrus are just inherently uplifting and help support positive emotional state. So we're trading the negative stuff for a slew of really great positive side effects and benefits. So lemon can be used to clean countertops, stainless steel appliances, and even tackle some of the tough to remove things, paint and glue and gum, and I've used it on sap and things like that. So Melaleuca, tea tree oil, it's antiseptic, antibacterial, antifungal, anti-infectious, and antiviral. Melaleuca is a real powerhouse. Apply it for skin blemishes, rashes. Use it in shampoo or conditioner for healthy scalp. You're seeing more and more of some of these healthy products and ones that are trying to be more healthy, that have tea tree oil in them, like in the shampoos and conditioners. Mix Melaleuca with vinegar and baking soda for a great toilet scrub. On Guard Protective Blend. This is really powerful stuff. Kills harmful bacteria, mold, and viruses. You can dilute and gargle it for protective mouth rinse. You can diffuse it to eliminate airborne pathogens. We've been diffusing it recently thanks to an uninvited guest we had in our house briefly. So you can delete it in a spray bottle to clean doorknobs, telephones, other kinds of things. So instead of just that, commercial antibacterial hand sanitizer, reach for this. You can just put together a simple spray bottle. I ordered these bottles, through Amazon. There are a bunch of different sellers. These glass spray bottles, and they're great for mixing up little things. So you can make your own. This is a phone and computer clean. Give the recipe later. But I also have one for hand sanitizer. And I took another one that I purchased. This Bronner's one of the brands I like. It's commercially available. And when it was empty, I refilled it with a mix that I made up: 8 drops of Melaleuca, 2 drops of lavender, ½ ounce of aloe vera, and 2 ounces of rubbing alcohol. And I've got a fantastic hand sanitizer. Good for our daughter when we can't get to a sink to wash hands or something. Peppermint is naturally cooling, invigorating, antibacterial, and antiviral. Increases energy, dissolves cellulite, helps purify water, tightens skin. So coming back to the second prong, I believe these problems also warrant collective actions. So that includes asking store managers to offer more safe products, urging our elected officials to pass and enforce stronger standards, and encouraging others to make more personal and collective actions to rid ourselves of toxic chemicals. We really need to become more educated and better at demanding disclosure, and manufacturers do respond. Walgreens pulled some air fresheners off their shelves, partly due to an NRDC, Natural Resources Defense Council, report showing high levels of phthalates. SD Johnson committed to remove phthalates from air fresheners and discloses chemical ingredients in its products. So honestly, there's been a lot more that's come about through consumer pressure, people wanting and demanding better products than through the regulatory side in recent years. So in summary, many of these common consumer products do pose dangers to ourselves. Read the ingredients, keep it simple. If you can't pronounce it, you're probably best not buying it and using it. Find some good pure brands. I like doTERRA, of course, Dr. Bronner's, BioClean, Weleda. There's a Healthy Living, EWG, Environmental Working Group, puts out a free app called Healthy Living. You can download it for your smartphone, and you can scan the label in the store and see, what kinds of toxic chemical may be in there. Avoiding fragrance and other toxins. If it's hitting, if they're bombarding us with it over TV, let's best skip it probably, and just keep it simple. Making your own, using some of the old-fashioned ingredients that work well and don't have the toxic side effects, and just thinking a little differently about what we buy and use, and looking again more holistically at how we can build and promote health and well-being and better emotional states in our homes, rather than just we got dirt, we get something that's going to take the dirt off and not worry about everything else. So recipes, I'll try and post these as well, but countertop cleaner, rubbing alcohol, liquid dish soap, a healthy good one, 6 drops of peppermint oil, and filtered water, glass cleaner, white wine, or not white wine, sorry, distilled white vinegar, filtered water, and lemon essential oil. You can use different, experiment with different oils, but these work well. Air freshener, make your own little spray air freshener bottle. 12 drops of wild orange and lemon. Sorry, 12 drops of lemon, 8 drops of wild orange is what I put. But again, you can mix and match whatever ones that you are really drawn to use, and 2 ounces of filtered water. Phone and computer cleaner. So 1 ounce of rubbing alcohol, an ounce of filtered water, and 6 drops of lemon essential oil. So very simple kinds of recipes. And here are some of the products that doTERRA has available for us. Really, really wonderful. I've been really enjoying the laundry detergent, very super concentrated, with no preservatives, has a nice, you smell the clove of the On Guard, but also is a really, really powerful disinfectant, antibacterial, antiviral, and so forth. Some of these other products, the hand sanitizer I've got here, On Guard, healthy hand sanitizer you can get through doTERRA, the foaming soap, and lots of other products. Some resources for you, again, mostly for Environmental Working Group. If you look up their website, you'll find this, but saferchemicals.org, www.ewg.org, and some of the different pages they have, sunscreen and so forth. And I put my email on here if you have questions that we're not able to get to, or have additional questions, or I can provide more information, drop me an email. I won't necessarily get back to you the same day, but I'll get back to you. And if I don't, well, ring me. Thank you. I'm just getting a lot busy these days. So here's what a healthy medicine cabinet could look like, and full of just wonderful doTERRA products, and some DIY things in there. So thank you again for your time, and look forward to hearing your questions.
Thank you so much, Jeffrey. Just a few, leave it on the presentation.
Oh, sorry.
Just a few things that I want to add in are that our laundry detergent is super concentrated, and it's also preservative free, which is actually a big deal and quite hard to find in other laundry detergents. So if you haven't tried that, it's really worthwhile, and it's super effective. And another thing that I want to speak to for a moment is that our kind of standard hand sanitizers completely destroy your immune system, and they are so bad for you. And they're, especially if you work in the healthcare industry, or you have a job where you're required to use those all day long. If you're sick constantly, take a look at what you're using as your hand sanitizer. So again, I really like to bring awareness to our hand sanitizer. This is a newer product for doTERRA, and I was so grateful that they created it. It's very moisturizing for the skin. It's going to strengthen your immune system, and it's absolutely going to keep the bugs at bay. but not destroy your immune system in the process. And our On Guard has been shown to kill MRSA on countertops and to keep it at bay for up to 7 days. So, when you have a mess to clean up in your house, I know that, we've all grown up with get out the bleach, kill it, disinfect it, get out the Lysol. Like those are a lot of go-tos for American homes. So sometimes there's a little bit of a mind shift to realize that the On Guard concentrated cleaner is going to be just as effective and just as powerful. And, Jeffrey said this in the live event where, it's not that we're all going to be drinking a bottle of Pine Sol, right? But it's that constant exposure over time that is really debilitating to our systems. Our bodies are not designed to hold the toxic load that we are exposed to, and that we are exposed to hundreds of more chemicals than our relatives were exposed to, just even our grandparents. I actually probably thousands of chemicals. Isn't that correct, Jeffrey?
Yeah.
And so we're really living in a space where detoxing on a daily basis is really critical. So having some lemon in your water, taking your LLV. I really love the Zundicrine products to help your body flush out all of those toxins. And just another disturbing statistic is that the majority of cancers that are happening today, as Jeffrey mentioned, are related to toxic environmental contaminants. So, it's disturbing information, it's sobering information, but it's also really valuable information because there's something that we can do about it. And certainly on the larger level, you're going to get enough exposure just going outside and in on our planet, unfortunately, but we can take action and do everything we can at home, and also to be a voice in our grocery stores by not purchasing these products, by requesting other products from store managers, and letting it be known that this isn't okay and that we don't need these products and we don't want these products, and really educating your friends and your family. I know that I heard so much feedback from the presentation that we did on Monday that a lot of this was new information for a lot of people. I feel like if you live in Portland, a lot of us, if you're in doTERRA, have a lot of awareness around this topic, but there's still so many people that really do not. And or if there's mysterious illnesses in the home, it's a really good idea to look at, are there air fresheners being used? Are there what level is, Febreze being used every day in the home, and to actually look at all of those triggers and remove them. And oftentimes, luckily with time, the body is able to repair itself and heal, but it's not going to heal if we're constantly exposed to these toxins every day. One thing, I hope it's okay that I'm just adding a little bit here at the end. Yeah, dryer sheet. Yeah. He says, another thing to be aware of is actually your mattress. We absorb a lot more toxins when we're sleeping and when we're horizontal. And so a lot of our mattresses, unfortunately, I hate to share this news with you, are very toxic. So investing in an organic mattress, something that's not going to off gas while you're sleeping, and or if you have, I realize that's a big expense, put an air purifier in your room. Do things to take action to lessen the exposure, as much as you can. And we all just do what we can ultimately, but there's just so many things. Another thing to put out there is when we shower, we can take in a lot of chlorine through our skin. We can take a lot more actually toxic exposure through our skin than through our digestive system. So, if you're bathing in chlorine every day in a shower, when your pores are open, by simply putting a filter on your home water, on your shower, those are all just small things you can do to lessen that daily exposure. And when you look around, it's amazing how much exposure we're getting with sometimes not even aware of it. So those are just things that I've done in my own home and in my own life in cleaning up the environment as best as I can and for my health and my well-being. So if you have any questions, go ahead and type them in. So far, I'm not really seeing any come up, but let me go ahead and go to the next slide, Jeffrey, and then we'll share this information. We really appreciate you all tuning in live. It's super fun to give these webinars when we actually have an audience on the other side. So I know that we can't see you, but we know that you're there and we appreciate it. And we appreciate your comments in the chat box. And if you have not become a member of doTERRA, we invite you to join us. One of the perks of doing so is that you get invited into our Essential Wellness community, where we offer these monthly educational webinars. We've been doing this for 7 years. We have an amazing library of educational content. We have weekly calls. We have a lot of Facebook support. We're very passionate about educating people about how to use essential oils and all the many ways we can do so. So if you're not yet a member, we invite you to join us. It's super simple. All you need to do is connect with the person that invited you to this webinar, and they will help get you started and help you decide what the right path for you is. If you've come to this webinar without a contact, if you've just seen it posted on Facebook, you can reach out to me directly at info@essentialwellness.life, and I will help connect you with the proper person and or help get you set up with everything that you need. Okay, so we do have a few questions here. There is one, will the On Guard whiten clothes? It's certainly not a bleach. But it does clean clothes, but it's not going to act as a bleach. But you can make a concentrate, like a concentrate stick out of it. And if you have a stain that you need to get out, like you would use a stain stick, you can actually rub that directly onto the clothing before you put it into the wash. So that can really help. And here's a question. Can you repeat the hand sanitizer DIY recipe you mentioned? I use doTERRA's, but keep getting asked for a DIY.
Yeah, sorry, that's not on here. Let me do that. So it's 8 drops of melaleuca or tea tree oil, essential oil, 2 drops of lavender essential oil, 1/2 ounce aloe vera, that helps it be more moisturizing, less drying, and 2 ounces of rubbing alcohol.
Perfect. Any other questions? Okay, well, I hope you all have a beautiful day. Again, we will have this recording posted on our website in the next couple of days. It takes us a couple of days to get everything processed and up. But Jeffrey, again, thank you so much for your time and your wisdom and your expertise and sharing with our community this really important and valuable information. If questions do come up after, please write your question out on the thread on our Essential Wellness Facebook page, and Jeffrey will check in and I will check in and we'll answer the questions the best that we can. And I don't know if you're in Portland, but we actually have a blue sky outside.
Yeah, it actually feels like spring.
In a while, so all of us Oregonians are really happy today. So I'm going to get outside and enjoy the day. So have a great time. We'll see you all next month, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you all. Bye.